You would cast Border Days.
Yes. you would be casting like 4 or 5 games of Border in a row.
A full old-fashioned Border Day.
It's like Oregon when it just came back.
Yeah, exactly.
Full days of Oregon. Of course, not going to be the case, most likely. For Border, we have that 9-map pool now, so many more maps to choose from. And as we're getting in the way, the Thatcher, the first one to be removed. I mean, it kind of makes sense, right? You know how important the walls are on many of these sites. If you want to keep them closed, it helps you a little bit more here. As the have funds are coming through. The second attacking ban, the Ossa, is coming out. And that is a bit more of a targeted approach here.
I could see Ossa having a good bout of play on Border as well. I think you're looking at, look at the balconies, look at those 2 sort of main pushes and points onto the classically the most common site. I don't want to say it's the most common site now because I want to see how these teams go about it, but you used to see Archives and Armory be that first pick for pretty much everybody. And you've got the 2 balconies out there, you've got control of offices, you've got now that wall on East Stairs has come a little bit further in, so there's a little bit more room. There's just room for Ossa right now to be a really big factor. So I can see her being removed, regardless of whether it's a target ban or not.
Yeah, there is definitely a lot of opportunities. Let's just talk about the Armory wall, you know? You have the 2 panels, then you have 2 slide panels slightly to your right, which make a bit of an L shape with a door in between those 2 panels.
About Border to redeem yourself. Give me some analysts.
I mean, top floor is often the most played site, I guess. You know, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, there's going to be a pretty clear site rotation, I think. It's going to be Archives, Armory as the first one, then probably Workshop, but it could also be the Bathroom Tellers area. Now, this one does get played quite a bit lately, and that's due to the bathroom rework, of course. There's an entire, like, the bathroom basically doubled in size. They had capacity issues there, so they made sure that that improved. And with that, suddenly became a lot more viable.
Okay, let's have a quick look over this side, to be fair, and sort of see the slight changes that come across. CC seemingly is always going to be a hold. It is that big extended room which has the other side towards the breach. It seems like they've got half of this soft. They're using this more as an aggressive swing round because if you entirely lock it off, you can't really counter against it. And then the punch holes on the opposite side means they have to clear out CC. Exodus is in a position here to be able to swing against them, so they can't just get hot entire pressure onto CCTV. You've sort of turned all of that territory into a bit of a danger. Whether you put someone on a rappel, there's a risk of a run out, sure, but chances are we're probably not going to see too much of that, at least early on. However, I'm sure some teams are going to dabble with tension destruction as Sloth. He's keeping that under lock and key and waiting to see if they can try and get some control at the bottom of the middle core metal stairs.
Yeah, the tension had been opened up very quickly here, and that allowed them, of course, to go in quick. Nice grenade from below. The new one was near CCTV, and we're able to pick up that kill quite cleanly as well. There's the entry here for the side of Heroic. Some shots are being pushed towards Sider, however. A grenade still in pocket for Sloth. Could be using that to get rid of a second player. Opening up CCTV and break as a result, and that would be giving a lot of freedom here to start working towards the attack near the actual Armory, if they would be to go for it. Of course, there's 2 ways. You could either go for the B-bomb site, which is Armory, or you could go for the Archives, but the Archives is currently very highly occupied. There's 3 people in that office. There's only a single one near the Armory. So Heroic, if they do have those drones, they might be able to quickly find out what's going on here and make a quick decision to make sure that they, well, choose the right side to execute on, because it's just Exodus here. And of course, there might be some cameras, some evil eyes or anything like that that will provide some information to the rest of Pones here. As grenades are coming around the corner here, that will definitely give it away that they're coming for this side.
Well, now here comes the breach, here comes the aggression, the fight through. They're just going to get rid of it. A double there. The grenade bounces around into the corner, takes care of the destruction done at the bottom of Sandwich Window. The little tuck-in close corner is the default plant spot for most teams. They're going to see if they can try and swing around and apply some pressure back in, but that's an Iana, and that's a Sloth that's really come into this. Guns are blazing. Another body goes down. Gorgona gets that. It's a post-plant 5 versus 1, but the man cannot see because Candelas are popping off, and so is Uno a Flawless. As the lead in here for our first hold, and, well, we barely really saw the hold come through.
That's it, right? I mean, there was a very early opening with that grenade. Well played. They spotted someone near the monitors, tried to push him back, used that grenade at the very same time. That gives you that first kill. That gives you an opening. Suddenly, CCTV is quite weak. and it opens up a potential attack towards the armory. Now, with only Exodus playing around there, and limited utility actually to stop them from pushing through, because as you could have seen before, there was an opening made on the most, like, outside wall, the exterior wall, the one that was the closest towards the rappel. It provides an angle that could be used by defenders to try and challenge before they can run up. However, if there is a Zofia on the other side or a sledge, they'll just breach it open and they'll use it as an entry. So basically, you've gave him a free extra thermic to some extent, I guess. Like, they opened up what they wanted to at that point. It's for the Evil Eye probably to play there. So, I mean, I get it. You mean, you get some information there, but if the wall just get opened up by that impact, I think that's going to be destroying the first Evil Eye as well.
Okay, Heroic, that was a very clean take, and it was controlled. It was traditional, a standard old border take that takes me back all the way to the yesteryear of when we used to play this map. It was a bit of a deep dive, though. They sort of set themselves in. They knew when they wanted to try and apply the pressure, got that opening body, and then the grenades round to the back. But the movement of the Yana is what I'm sort of highlighting here is they just kept on stepping up. You used to see it as a bit of a utility burn. They would try and get themselves locked in, maybe plant under the cover a smoke, or at least keep a bit more of a swing round. But the way Heroic sort of pushed into the openings Pawns had made, it made things a little bit easier for them. Here, they're doing the same approach. There is that player underneath that Sloth might try and find the fight here. Emission's under a bit of pressure there from the other side as well. Benja is getting a bit of aggression, but it's Sloth that takes that entrance there, screens his way through. And the second, a grenade from Gorgona gets the man behind the hard wall.
I've no clue what's going on here. Just such easy kills are being picked up by the side of Heroic. Another one will fall, and, well, they are completely running over Pawns here on this first 2 rounds. Now, important to mention is there was actually a bit of a adaptation coming out from Pawns. They reinforced the tension after they got in so quickly using the sledgehammer. This time, however, they opened it up with a can opener, but it wasn't where Sloth actually entered from. He entered from the room on the side, so where they were probably busy with putting up a lot of attention towards the detention area, it was never going to be coming from that way. And now there's only 2 men left. There is both of them above. There is the hatch that has been opened up, and Saito will be able to pick up their first kill of this game. It is him now, still playing near the hatch as well. And Dreezy spots out a player, and that's a grenade that will be dropped. It's a 2 and 3. Suddenly, it's going to be very doable here, but it's a beautiful pre-fire from Sloth that takes up the head of Saito quite cleanly here. And now they know exactly where this last player is from Pawns. They ping it out. They're trying to get into the right position. And as Andreezy comes around the corner, he tries to go for a pre-fire, but he takes more damage than he deals. And the player from 90 will be watching it. Grizzly from break all the way through the rotation or angle that was made by themselves is going to be able to pick up that kill. And did you see that, Emmy? There was a bulletproof camera looking right through it. No one was on it. They had no clue that that angle was being watched.
This is I guess, the questions that are going to get answered maybe when we see more and more teams go for the approach here. We're seeing our first EUL defenses on border from a team that we know hasn't been together for the longest period of time. They're sort of still finding their feet, finding their rhythm. And defense, I think, I know we sort of said they got off to a good attacking start. I guess attacks can generally be more generically driven. You've got to be a little bit more creative with your defense. You're setting up the puzzles for your opponents to answer. That is the nature of Siege. And here, I'm a bit puzzled because what I'm comparing this to isn't, you know, how we see it played in ranked, isn't how we see it generally played, but how we used to see it in comp. And sure, as I highlighted at the very beginning of this, there's been so many changes. Operators, momentums, metas, whatever. Even the face of the map has had a couple of shifts. But you're looking at things like that 90 wall being soft and opened. It used to be historically locked in, so people couldn't have that flat angle to cover the rotation round from the other side in. And that exact little moment, or the angles opened up on the small box to make sure that they could have a fight all the way from chairs, or that sort of curve in the lockers is where it's sort of familiar. You might know it as Africa. You might know it as just opposite, I think someone calls it, which I disagree with. It has
many different calls.
It has many different calls.
We don't have a new call-out sheet for this one, I think. But either way, yeah.
I mean, Des would put weird stuff on it.
Yeah, that's definitely true. But, I mean, those first kills, you know, the ones that Sloth got, that is just being outgunned. But I still don't get what the Maestro was doing on the doorway there, just standing there waiting for the grenade to come in and take him out there. So that's the one that confuses me the most. Setups, I guess. I mean, you might be trying something new. You might be trying something that is working out for you in scrims, but I mean, if this is the first time you're playing it in that official game, you'll be under a bit more pressure, actually, to find out what is going well and what not. This time, they are downstairs. They are in workshop, deciding to not try for a third time in a row here, and rightfully so. That means that both these walls towards the armory this time will be locked off. Hibana quickly opens that up now, so Uno has created a line of sight that will be used now. Gorgona is up on ACs as well, trying to find an angle onto the players that are still inside of armory, but reinforcements all around. So a lot of utility being used here by the defenders to try and hold on to the top floor, because it is just so important to make sure that you hold on to it. That's the first kill. Exodus finding Sloth. That is going to be a very crucial entry kill here, but they instantly go for the trade there. Uno finds it as well.
Well, now they're able to at least get that opening back and forth. They're putting some revenge in here, and Amision, he keeps that momentum going. A different side and a different state of mind, and Amision's going to suffer from pressure from either side. Has a little bit of support, has the hard wall, but look at this, the flood of red bodies. They at least get themselves back even. But it pulled a lot of Heroic out of position. It pulled them out of pace, and it forces them into a trickier situation. The Pulse, well, this is that old cat and mouse game, and he quickly pockets the electric device, turns it off, and puts his hands and feet inside at all times.
He's holding the Nitro Cell in his hands now. He's waiting for an opening to be made before he tosses it in, and breaching charges are being used. Gorgona's quickly checking with the IQ as well. Is it still safe? Yes, it still is. Probably that opening will be guiding a C4 to come out. That's right underneath Gorgona. He lives, but the breaching charge gets destroyed. I think he'll be happy with that, though. Rather have the live than a breaching charge.
Now, with all that intel and 30 seconds left, they still have the most power that Pawns has been able to have. Here, can they stop Uno? He's gone in for a little tuck in just behind the hefty bookcase. WTG, he's trying to retake this major swing on the double door, but can't quite get the win out onto Grizzly, who has it from deep. Scyther, he's got himself back inside the site. He's concerned about the player above. Prepleps to C4 and pops it, but nobody is caught. They're in a position where they're just playing it off to the side, and they're waiting for the audio, but a quick double pickup means Heroic keep themselves going. 3 rounds, 2 plants, 2 sites.
Heroic plays this so well, Emmy. Like, the trade game is just on point. Sloth was the entry def there, but you saw what happened. They knew where he was. The flashbangs rain in. Uno runs right after it and makes sure that it's avenged, and the number count stays similar. It was a 3v3 execute there in the end, and it's kind of a safe spot. This is why the top floor is so important. That's how you deny that plant, or you need to be a little bit closer up to the wall so you can actually watch and challenge the window, but that is not without risk either. So Heroic, they start this off strong in 0-3. As we head into the 4th round now, Workshop again to be attempted here. And Pawns think that they might have learned some lessons from that previous round that they can improve on. But, I mean, the same will go for Heroic, of course. They will also have seen these small mistakes that led to them being in a bit of a disadvantage. And it's mainly 2 people dying from this angle that was created by the Hibana beforehand. You might not see those 2 people playing there this time. You might just see them go for a different kind of approach for the top floor control. Let's just say an office stake, for example. Suddenly, you have a very long angle looking all the way through that doorway here with the 1.5 scopes, of course, that are available to the attack more so than to the defense. And that could become quite troublesome for the side of Pawns. There's a mute jammer though that will block off any potential X-Kairos from the start. However, there is an opening at the top of that wall, so even if they do, a grenade just could quickly rain over and stop every single bit of it. Electric Claws also on the board here. Those will be pinged out. But there is a Maverick, so it shouldn't really be too much of an issue.
Here, the pressure's going to come across the top once again. There is a little bit more of a man count on that top corner by Armory, by Archives. They're making sure they have that lock in there, and you've always got the potential streaks towards the top 90, and oh well, there's perfect teamwork. Almost catches a second there. Amision, he suddenly finds himself more isolated. He wants to lean back into the engagement, and he does. Takes one, makes sure that he keeps this as a response cool game, rather than having them all plucked out of that single corner.
Necessary death there in the end, though. I mean, I understand that you want to continue to try and find, but there was no information really, so no clue whether he was half-full or if he is in this current spot. Bound to be walking into the small cubby there. The drone has spotted him out. Walks over towards the sandwich area, I believe that's called. Credits being cooked in by both Uno And of course Sloth as well. They need to find the right position to throw it to. But Grizzly already coming in from the back here. It's Sloth that finds the kill. However, with the gun, with the air axe, and WTG still holding close here near the beepers. The question is he going to be able to catch anybody off guard, or will he be punished for it?
Well,
Ooh,
he
just
escapes there, WTG. Well, if the Nomad didn't know before, they maybe just caught a little bit of a whiff of them as they fled that time round. They're still holding themselves onto the top of the metal stairs. Gorgona swings his way in. The pressure was coming up behind the back of that shield onto sandwich window as well with Gorgona, but Sloth just sort of pushed and got the kill, and there's the drop on the air jab. WTG is keeping the pressure hot. And this is one of the things we talked about before is, well, Pawns was sort of being smashed off the site without real recompense or with anything hit back against Heroic. Here, they're trying to keep the pressure.
They know.
Aggressive, and well, that leads to, as you said, they know Sloth is on a scream, 7-1.
She's absolutely picking him apart here, but so is the rest of Heroic, and now pre-fires are happening towards those metal stairs. Uno instantly getting into a position here. And, you know, it's not that Pawns are doing things very wrong here, it's just Heroic is perfectly responding to whatever is being brought, and as they see the feet there, they know exactly that Uno's going for a plant. This might be a turning point in that round. The diffuser is now cold, it is being watched, and now the remaining two members of Pawns, they need to try their best to hold on to this one as Saito picks up yet another kill. They know, however, he's in the back of the workshop area, and as he swings around the corner, Gorgona will pick him up. The second one gets spotted though. 10 seconds. The flank comes in and Sloth finds that kill. A clean headshot, and Heroic continue to perfectly respond to whatever is being brought here by Pawns, and they're picking up these rounds as if it's nothing.
On the camera,
there's a lot more possible on the defense, and as we were headed back towards that top 4 armory lockers, it is going to be a bit of a different lineup that we see. An Alibi is coming in instead of a Maestro, for example. And I think that might be a good call. They kept those walls open to ensure they could view through with the evil eyes. That really didn't find any success. This, however, did. The blowtorch is super quiet, of course, so you don't know it's open until, first of all, you're right next to it or you see it. And I just don't know how they knew WTG was there. Yes, he shot the air jet, but it was like 10 seconds later when they responded to it. You would expect the person to be gone by then. So I'm not sure if there was a drone or if it was a sound call.
I mean, I guess we only really know when we go back, but the fact that the wall was open at the bottom of the stairs is the lead in towards that window. You know, the bottom of the window had been cut across as well. It's a place you can get a drone into. It's a corner that people do like to tuck one into, because if you're approaching vents from the sort of ground floor, as they have been, you kind of have to make sure that nobody's hovering around detention.
Yeah, and that's why we saw at the very first couple of rounds the tension being held as well by, or at least the customs area being held by some of the defenders, but Sloth just made quick work of that. It's been really on fire the last game, but especially this game as well. Picking up some good kills. I was going to say there might be someone right around the corner. There's the pillar there. Saito now trying to rotate out. The grenade comes right around the corner. Might take care of some utility, but is not going to be able to pick up the kill for now. So he looks to rotate back in. Oh, gets taken out. They're just so on fire here. Benja follows the drone, gets the call, goes to the pre-fire and gets the kill as well. It's an entry again for the side of Heroic here. And it's Saito off the board. The man who had been able to pick up the most kills to this far for Pawns.
Well, Benja gets himself a double, gets himself one more, and Pawns are falling apart. They've got to go for a hefty rotate underneath. They're trying to retake, and at this point, the way it's been responded to, Gorgona keeps a finger on the trigger. Benja hasn't let go of it. Gets one more, and WTG with a shotgun can't even find him.
Nothing is going right for Pawns right. And honestly, he got hip-fired as well with that. He tries 2 pumps, doesn't get any. And I don't want to say anything, but I think the mood is at an all-time high here for the side of Heroic. They're 5-0 up. A kill like that after you get pumped twice, doesn't manage to get the kill. Nothing is going right for Pawns.
You know how in football you can tell how a game's going based on seeing people warming up and putting their jerseys on the sideline?
Yeah, you don't have that here.
No, we do, because we've just had Ace of Pyrite walk through to go put his shirt on.
That's very true. He's going for his warm-up now.
He's gone to put his shirt on. He's getting ready. And you at this point, unless we see a very different Pawns on the attack, it's a worry, because as you said, they're a bit downtrodden. It's even on shore.
Going here, all right.
Well, we have the comparison of them playing versus Secret last week, and you know, it was a 4-2 on the split, and then they were able to hold on to the majority of their defenses to get it to OT. But still, it's a different story because at least in those rounds, they were kind of competitive. It was flashy plays that got them the plants down in the side of secrets with the Candelas, and we've seen that at the beginning of Heroic's approaches. But otherwise, it's just these gunfights that are happening all over the shop, and
we have 7 kills in 5 rounds, Emmy, from the side of Pounds. It's not much.
They just seem a bit lost as to where Heroic are coming from.
I think we can definitely say they're lost currently because, I mean, they do understand where they're coming from. It's just that the entry droning is so, like, the drones are coming in, but it's instantly followed up by a fragger. So what we see is people, they look down to the drone, instantly get punished for it. Just slight mistakes being made. That is going to be a second extra thermic. It's going to be a bit of a bait. Grenade comes around the corner. Impact will get it though. Well played there by the side of Pounds. The detention wall will stay shut for now, as there is also no other potential hard breach available. So this is actually turning out to go quite well for Pones for now. But when it comes down to these checkpoints, that is where they need to be on point.
Wow, that was Scyther, and he sort of got himself a little bit of isolation there between the window. It's a tricky point to play, just in the little customs box and on the door of customs itself. He's going for a bit of a swing and a stretch. Sloth just gets the confirmation. I was going to say just misses Andreezy, who almost slipped his way into 90 there, but comes back into the fight. At that point, Sloth's already got himself lined up and ready to fire the trigger. The hatch is open. That puts a bit of pressure down into the customs box underneath, so it looks like Pones are going to see if they can go for some pressure. Some mantle of a retake, drops the drone and goes for a little bit of movement. Expects somebody to be holding that. Misses that second drone as it slips its way across.
The player that is in there in Armory doesn't have any value to this game right now because what they're going to do is try and go for a bit of a rotate. That's going to be a kill with the Nitro. Well played by WTG there. But, you know, if they don't want to take Armory, then they just won't take Armory. They don't exactly need it if they want to go for a plant here. So all they need is that top floor control, which they have now established. Now they need to find themselves a way in. And that window most likely will be it. Scyther is watching it, so it's a bit tricky for now. But if they do manage to make it past, which Kokona just doesn't manage to do, and Uno picks up the diffuser, it's a 2-4 situation. Now Pones might be able to actually win the round here.
Well, the diffuser's still in the hands of Uno, but he has barely any health. Benja, he's in the sight, and he just felt the breath of a bullet above him. He knows that there's some pressure that can come through here. Tries and cooks the grenade, but just sees them slip past. And Maestro can, with a couple of zaps, just to add a little bit more fire. Drops it. Uno's able to find a mission as well. The swing in and a bit of a lock over the top. But look at the bodies of Pones. They've gone for the retake. Flat out. They're making sure that nobody's going to be comfortable inside the site as well. Uno has that control above, but has the kit. And that's the worry, because he needs to make sure he can try and find a smooth way around into the site. Scyther's tucked in on the corner. The pre-fire from Benja doesn't quite connect, and Scyther goes wide to see if he can make the damage of his own. There's the calls of that player above, and there's the Maestro. Uno's able to get one, brings it to a 2 versus 2, but they know he's there. They're watching the hatch. They can fire as soon as he goes for the drop. No, and Uno's not entirely sure which drop. Oh, the diffuser's cold out. There's one!
It's a run now.
10 seconds. He knows the player's loose, but he doesn't quite get it. WTG just pulls that one together for Bones.
That could have gone so wrong there. I mean, they were both stacked up on that corner. If he would have known, that would have been a double kill to come in, and Heroic then with a clutch round, you can almost call it, bringing it to 06. But Pones, they win their one round, and they stay in it for now. It's definitely still something they can turn around, but even in that retake, they seemed a bit disconnected, I dare to say. I mean, yes, they all got back together towards the side, but then they forgot about the fact that Uno just killed someone upstairs as he rappelled in. I mean, you should be aware of the vertical angles that can be used, especially if the pulse is looking up, spots him, is saying, hey, he's walking towards the center of CCTV. You should be careful there. I mean, this is a good start, right? This kill from WTG, it brings out an important player out of that round. Sloth neutralized helps a lot. But they almost lost their way there due to, it might be miscommunication, it might be a bit of a disconnect, I'm not quite sure. But now we're going to see whether or not this will be an attack side of border, or if Heroic is going to be able to get 2 defenses, or at least be a bit more competitive than we've seen Pones be so far.
Okay, and that's it, I guess. That's the example, because Pones, for my money, they're going to be much better on their attack. They couldn't be much worse than they were on their defense, but we saw good attacks from the last week. And you're driving on your attack. You're making sure that you're taking part of it. There's 4 of them huddled and hop, 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 hop. as they make their way steadily towards the push on the side itself. They have more control of when they want to have control. And the rounds that they were losing before, it was entirely out of their hands. There is heroic players that are going to try and move a little bit wide and cause some problems, but it's how quickly they can keep themselves locked in here.
Some verticals being made. There's an upside-down repel that is being spotted out by a Prisma. And this is where these Prisma charges come in quite handy. You know, you get a bit of a feel that someone is indeed upstairs and, you know, watching over your window here. And as Benja is receiving some pressure from the LMGE, he has that shield to play behind. Needs to be careful. This is exactly why your feet will stick out from that perspective. As Jude Law, I believe that is called. And right now, on the upside-down repel, that top floor has been locked in. Another kill, however, comes in favor of Gorgona. It's going to be a run-out from the Armory side, and that gives them back to CC control.
Yeah, that's the border that we remember, and that's the border that we reference when we talk about run-outs. Nomad was pretty consistent in pretty much everybody's rosters when we saw border really at its height. It was that just trying to control the space, trying to control all these different angles. Sure, it's only got a couple of staircases, but it's a big box, or at least was back in the day. There's a little bit more options for movement, like that new walkway that leads you all the way across. But there's also results like that, and that's an older trick, the C4 over the top, a bit of the destruction that can let in towards the top of the east stairs.
I'm not right, prep the desk there for the work that needs to be done on it. But quickly solved, of course. 2v4 currently. Heroic still in the lead, and they're looking to make this one stick as well. The repels in are coming onto the actual balcony, and it seems like CC will be their starting point, at least for their attack. There's a lot of long angles, however, they need to be careful of. The proc sensor will also give away that the mission is currently near the break room, so if someone was within hearing range, they know, if they didn't yet, that the push is definitely coming from this side. My question, however, is do they have enough utility to deal with the remaining players inside of Heroic? Oh, there's an Echo drone on the board.
Oh, there's an Echo that's hidden on the other side of Office. And
the player on the desk as well is going to be crucial.
We have seen so much Echo on border as well. If we're going historically, Echo has been a nightmare on this. They're just going to flash out half wall and try and put some pressure there. There's the drone. It just slips behind. It's not easy to catch, but they do catch that player. Uno with the instant refrag. The second on the breach. Doesn't quite get it locked in, but Grizzly is able to find one more on the back burner. It's a 2 versus 1. I believe there's still an Echo drone up on the board, which is what a mission is trying to find. There it is. And it'll pop now.
Miss. Nope. Has to go for it. No time is going to be able to get that one, but now the timer will hit 0. That's going to be Grizzly running around the back and spraying it off with the SMG-11 right as the Echo comes around the corners. Also well played there, indeed. A lot of time wasted in the end, and you know, those kills, those scrappy fights around the half wall is just enough to waste enough time. Take down the diffuser as well, force them to pick that back up. Of course, it's no longer just run over and forget. You need to actively press that button. Still goes wrong sometimes for some of the players. And Heroic now on match point. Not just one, it is a total of 5, a casual 5 match points here for Heroic. And I mean, I cannot see this game go any other way. I don't know, but like after how it started, after those first 3 rounds, I think it was already pretty clear that Heroic knew exactly how to play against Pwns here today. And this Nitro, it's one of the olds. It is beautifully arced right through, and at the moment you see it, the moment you hear it fly, it is already too late. There's no way you're going to be escaping from that one. And it's now 1-6. And we get to
there goes Des.
There goes Des. There's the second sub that is warming up right now.
Oh, he's actually doing...
He's doing the crab walk.
I thought he was going to do a stretch, but he did a crab walk.
No, that's his signature walk for the warm-up, actually.
He actually just walks like that around the hotel.
Yeah, he does.
It's terrifying.
No one has ever seen him walk, actually. None of the viewers. So we could just say that he only crab walks.
He only crab walks.
He only crab walks.
If you... There's your Siege GG cast for the year 2021. Was it 2020 or 2021?
I think it's 2020.
I don't think there was one this year.
No, they're still busy with the awards, aren't
We're all
they?
just too delicate. We all call up Splack. Like, come on, man.
Come on, Splack. Hand out the awards. Where award means
6-1. Pwns have lost their opening step they were trying to keep pace. I think,
risky.
A very
very risky.
important kill.
Oh, they see him. Grizzly thought it was hidden there, but he's going to be picked up early, and that is a good start here for the side of Pwns. But we've seen this go wrong so many times, and as the doors are being opened up right now to provide some support towards the fountain, rotates out already, right as he has been droned. Replicator coming around the corner as well. Selmas are being used to open up the triple wall, just to provide some extra rotation angles. Emission already right down below is inside the bathroom here, watching up these hatches, knows no one is around there though, but he has a clear opportunity to head into the workshop.
I think that's it, is what you're looking at the site right now is it's customs. It's on the opposite end of the map, but the clear is starting here on Office based on the players that were buried there. He's just going to slip his way down the metal stairs, and Emission's going to try and keep the pace and see if he can catch them at the bottom. He's got this long angle, and Emission was a pretty consistent response to a lot of the bodies that fell away from them, and that's what I'm talking about on the previous round, is the last time Pwns were able to get that opening kill, but there was a very important refrag that came through from Gorgona within the next 5-6 seconds. Here, they haven't been able to get that. The pressure stayed on from Pwns. They have this man advantage. The last round, it would have potentially come down to a 1 versus 1 with a little bit more time and with a little bit more of a difference in balance because Pwns were refragging. But this is the first time they've started to get a handle on it, and this is the time when really no more mistakes as they get themselves open and prepped and eyes into customs.
There's an Aldo waiting around the corner here, and if they don't drone this properly, then they might not know. Exodus is swiftly trying to rotate down as well. Gorgona is looking over through the hatch. Are they going to be trying to challenge CC? I'm not quite sure if there's any drones giving away information here. Doesn't seem to be the case as they're all up here. There's actually just one person up on the balcony here, but it's not a direct threat to the player out there.
The slow creep from Scyther making no noise. Gorgona theoretically has been caught and revealed, and they're just going to try and pop his head from behind here. 30 seconds, and well, there it is. He is so prepped and ready to go as soon as the pressure ticks on. Scyther's going to see if he can scream in, pulls the attention. Emission pulls Benja out on the fight inside from underneath the hatch. Uno at least gets a body back here for Heroic, but 20 seconds. They've got themselves eyes inside the site. They're slowly fighting for the verticality, and that's the problem right now, is without that, you can assume that Heroic will try and bite back. They're still going for it. WTG popped in, locked out. Sloth over the top. The Alder's able to drive himself through. Nobody's got the diffuser in pocket. There's only a couple of seconds, and we find ourselves desperately clutching to the F key, holding onto the angle, no time to revive, and it's Uno! The SMG screams over the top of a man peppering pot shots with a pistol, but today it's not Pwns' day.
It was desperation there, right? The time was running out. Suddenly Sloth pops up, gets an injure, gets a kill, and injures, or not injures, but like deals a lot of damage to the remaining players out there as well. And after that, there's another vertical angle. It's an SMG completely sprayed empty, so you saw Uno fall back, quickly